Hello everyone, so I just got out of an early screening of The Amateur starring Rami Malek, and I gotta say, I do think the trailers were a little bit misleading for this film. I thought from the trailers this was going to be like an action-packed movie, him trying to find his wife's killers, but it just wasn't as action-packed as I thought it was going to be. There were parts that were very, very slow, and like I thought it was going to be action-packed, like him using his intelligence to conjure up all these different traps and like all these very creative traps. But honestly, in the movie, there's only 3 traps, I think. Not even traps. Like he only uses his intelligence like 3 times to do kind of what the trailer says it's gonna do for him. Like, don't get me wrong, the first 30 minutes of this movie had me hooked. I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. It was like a 9 out of 10 in the first like 30 minutes, and that's when it's doing all this setup for this, what I thought was gonna be this crazy adventure thing, him trying to find these people. But after the first 30 minutes, the movie does get messy. There are some things that happen to where there are some big plot holes that I saw. I'm not going to get into that in this video because I don't want to spoil it, but because it was an early screening, so it's not even out yet. But I just, whenever a movie has these plot holes, any kind of plot holes, it just kind of pulls me out of it, and that's exactly what happened here. So the main cast is Rami Malek, Rachel Brosnahan, John Bernthal, and Lawrence Fishburne. And I gotta say, Rami Malek is the lead in this, and he's in it the majority of the movie, but the other cast is not in the movie that much. For obvious reasons, we know why Rachel Brosnahan is not in the rest of the movie past like 30 minutes in. We have seen that in the trailer, so we know why she's not in this, but then we have John Bernthal and Lawrence Fishburne, and I gotta say, these 2 people were very underutilized. Like, John Bernthal might have had like 3 to 5 scenes, I think 5 scenes at the max, and he's an amazing actor. Like, if you're gonna have an actor like that in this kind of movie, I wish, even in the trailers, I thought he was gonna have a bigger role, and he just didn't. Like, I even think there was a line in the trailer that said, like, John Bernthal said something, and then when it happened in the movie, it's a like totally complete different context, and it brought me back to the Avengers times when, like, you saw the Hulk in, like, running through the Wakanda battle, but in the movie, it was, like, the Hulk Buster. It wasn't even the real Hulk. It was just a moment like that where you're just like, man, I was excited for that moment, but then in the actual movie, it's just like, that's not how it actually happened. And then you have Lawrence Fishburne, which I do like this actor. I saw him in that space movie earlier last year, I think. I can't remember the name of it. I'll pop it up on the screen if I can remember it. But he's in this, and he plays a kind of weird character because you're like, are you on Rami's side or are you not on his side? And you can never really tell. Then something happens with his character during the film, and it's just weird. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this movie just feel weird. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. It just, like, I wanted it to work so bad, and then it happened, you just sit back and you're like, that just felt weird. I don't know if it's like because they had many different versions of this movie and they put like together like a Frankenstein version, and they like try to piece it together to make it make sense. Like, that's kind of how it felt, like, make it make sense, because it doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of plot holes in this, and movies, like I said, that have plot holes just really don't do it for me. Especially in a movie like this where you're supposed to be like very precise with your movements because you know people are watching you and all this stuff's happening. Like, it kind of reminded me of Now You See Me, which does it way better than this movie does it, because there's just too many plot holes in this movie where things happen and you're like, that's not adding up. But in Now You See Me, everything lines up perfectly. But in this movie, they just reveal stuff out of nowhere and expect you to be like, oh, that makes so much sense, but it just doesn't. So now that I got most of the bad stuff about this movie out of the way, I might say some stuff later, but I want to talk a little bit about the positives, and I will say this is still a fun and entertaining film. So the first 30 minutes of this movie is very, very strong. Like I've said it before, the setup is very strong. It is a good setup. And we've seen this in the trailer. Basically, Rami Malek's wife gets taken, and you know what? By a group of Also, you know what? I can't say it on YouTube, but then he has to go try to find the people who did that to his wife. And that's an amazing setup. And I think it's honestly, if you've seen Novocaine, it's similar to Novocaine, where his girlfriend gets kidnapped and he has to go throughout the whole movie trying to find her. But honestly, Novocaine, and I know it's a comedy, it's a funnier movie, does it 10 times better. If you want to think there's plot holes in Novocaine, which there definitely is, there's more plot holes in this film. And I know I just said I'm going to talk about the positives, but I can't like stop talking about this. I hate that this film has plot holes. I hate it because I was looking forward to this film so much. And I know I'm talking like I hated the film. I really didn't. I think it's like a solid 8 out of 10. There were moments like the first 30 minutes and even later on in the film that were 9s. But when you look at the film overall as one whole thing, it's not. It's like an 8. There were moments where I closed my eyes for a second and I started to feel myself like drift off and fall asleep. And that never happens to me in a movie. But it's because this movie is like over 2 hours long and it really didn't need to be. Like I said, there's only 3 times he uses any of his smartness to get to... I'm trying not to spoil anything, to get to where he's trying to go. There's only like 3 traps he sets up. And in the film, or in the trailer, it made us think that the whole movie was going to be these different like special things that he makes up, and it's going to be very creative, and it wasn't really like a creative movie. I will actually say something I did like about this film was the fact that they had very, very futuristic, and honestly I don't even know if it's futuristic because I feel like our government now has this stuff, like these tiny little microphones. They were able to hack into all these different security cameras. This dude is like a top tier level hacker or whatnot. So there's in the government organization that he's in was insane. The things they were able to do, like they felt like they were always a step ahead. It's just stuff like that, like the technology that they used in this film was very, very impressive. And honestly, that is about it without getting too much into spoilers. Like, I really don't want to spoil this movie for you. But honestly, in the trailer, there's not much that you haven't already seen. And that was probably one of my problems with the movie, because I felt like I've seen the entire thing before. Obviously, the final stuff happening, you don't really get to see that. But everything leading up, like, you saw all the things that he does to people pretty much in the trailer. And that's when I'm like, who's making these trailers? I don't know if it's the trailer's fault or the studio's fault. I mean, I don't know if they are the same people or the movie's fault. But, like, there wasn't anything that I didn't know. And, like, I wasn't surprised, really, with anything in the film. I was just like, oh, I know what's going to happen next. Oh, that's this scene in the trailer. And it's not like I watched the trailer over and over again analyzing it. I just got that from watching it like a couple times in theaters. So that's one of the downsides to me. I don't know if I need to put that on the trailer or the actual movie itself. One last final thing, I will say Rami Malek does well in this role. I'm not putting this on him. He is still a great actor. I know people like him in like Bohemian Rhapsody. I haven't seen that, but he is a good actor, and he does well with the material they give him. I think this movie, at times, is poorly written. I think it is. I'm not going to say it's poorly shot, because there are some really, really, really good shots in this movie, but there also is some mediocre shots. Like, there's a bunch of camera shaking for no reason. Like I said in another video, I hate camera shaking when it's not done for a reason. Like, I understand, like a fight or something, you need to be like moving around, but in a normal conversation, there's no need. So I am gonna say I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10. That is a good score, not a great score. 8's good, 9 is great, 10 is perfecto. I wanted to give this a 9. I knew it wasn't gonna be a 10. I knew it wasn't gonna be 10. If it was gonna be 10, I was gonna be excited. But I wanted to give this a 9. But I'm sad to say, guys, it is an 8. I'm glad it wasn't a 7, but it's an 8, 8, 8. It's a good movie. You should go watch this when it comes out. Let's see who is in it. Rachel Brosnahan, John Berthenol, Lawrence Fishburne, Rami Malek. And if you like Holt McCanley, he plays a big role in this. But he's another character where it's just like, what are you doing? This is like weird. This has gotten to a point where it's just weird. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Are you going to watch this movie? Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 200 subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you next time.